What's up, goblins? Hello. Welcome back to the stream. I'm gonna be painting the background rocks of this goblin. I'm early. So what? Hello. Trying to use my time wisely. Time to paint some rocks. I'm starting to reach the darkness limit of my tablet here because on my tablet the values are all messed up because of all the dead pixels and stuff. So I have a bunch of like stuck red pixels on my screen. And whenever I do super dark images like this, that's like all I can see is just a shitload of fucking pixels. What tablet am I rocking? I have a Wacom 32 Pro. I will eventually change it up. I actually have another one of these in the house, because this one crapped out on me so many times. So I had a backup one. This was before there were multiple options of the Pro line that were currently out. So now there's a 27-inch that's supposed, the one that replaced this one. I don't know how good it is. I haven't been crazy about any of the Wacom tablets. Have I ever considered Huion or a cheaper option? I have, but I've still heard, like, from all the reviews I've listened to on YouTube, they're like pretty good, but they're not exactly Wacom yet, which is crazy to me because Really, if like Apple just made a tablet like the way they make the iPad, then I think that would probably crush Wacom. I think that they would just die. That'll never happen. But that'd be a dream. Something that just works good. I'm not like an Apple fan necessarily, but the stuff just works. So it'd be nice if they made one. It'd be nice if somebody destroyed Wacom. Or at least, because I don't think Wacom's interested in doing any better. Is there an alternative to Patreon because it's banned in your country? I don't know. What about Patreon is banned? Is it just Patreon, or is it like funding platforms like Patreon? Thanks, Vittoria, if I said your name right, or at least close enough. OnlyFans. Yeah, I could start an OnlyFans. That honestly was my idea for doing like Garfield stuff and like hentai comics. I mean, not like real hentai comics, but like the joke stuff. I'm not actually going to start drawing porn or anything like that. I just thought it'd be funny if I did it on there. What do you think the art industry is going to look like in the future? Do you have an optimistic and hopeful view, or is it a dark life in the pod eating bugs and get hooked up to an AI view? I think we're going to be fine, honestly. I'm not super worried about it. It's going to be a bumpy road to fineness, but I think it will come. wonder if there is hentai on OnlyFans. I feel like it's all on Patreon already. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want it to be like the only person doing it, or I don't know. There's definitely somebody else doing it. I can't fathom that there's nobody on there doing that unless it's like against their terms or something. I mean, if there isn't, then untap market. I mean, if I were just winging it and I didn't have a career, I would just make up a single character, like a sexy polar bear or something like that, and start an OnlyFans. Just be like, you pay me this amount, I will send you a terrible drawing on a napkin of that polar bear doing whatever you want. And just have it be like a meme page. I bet you can make a bunch of money. How is it arting? I could interpret that question so many ways. Like, how am I doing art? How do I like doing art? You asking me how it's possible that I do art? Yeah, I think there's definitely some money to be made over there. Don't just leave money on the table, guys. More like, how is the art going right now? It's going good. I'm working on a bunch of projects for companies and things. Very busy with all that, so trying to do my own thing on the side like this, get in hours when I can. Yeah, it's all going really good. I mean, at the moment I'm stressed because I have a deadline. And I have like this feeling in my gut, like whenever I'm in this position, I always feel like I'm doing too much, like I'm juggling too many things. And I have that like feeling in the pit of my stomach, like I'm letting everybody down. So I have to push that out of my mind and just stay working. Just stay focused on the goal, because otherwise that stuff can make me go a little crazy if I think of too many things at once. That always happens to me. The reality is that I've been kind of digging myself out of a hole of a ton of different commitments for a while. And I've been in like a weird spot with like letting certain projects go and things that I was feeling a little too like stuck with almost for too long. So knowing when to say no to certain things. It's very difficult when you have like a like feast or famine type of thing, where it's like you gotta reap while the reaping's good. I think that's what everybody says. But yeah, I'm trying to like stay on top of so many different things, and then I get cool offers and I have to say no, and I have to like stay dedicated to the things that I say I'm going to do and then deliver. So that part's, it's like a good stress because a lot of good things are going on, but it's still something that I think about a lot. Like, God, I gotta get faster. I gotta get more efficient. If you could draw like this, you'd never get bored. I will say this, it is much better to be at the place I'm at now than what I was when I was younger. Like I feel way more confident in my abilities, and it's more a matter of just doing what I want to do, like actively pursuing things that I'm interested in and keeping myself dedicated to improving, but also picking and choosing the funnest projects and things. I'm at a point in my career where I have like, in terms of the workload and the type of work, it's like an embarrassment of riches, where like everything that comes my way is something nice, something attractive that you want to do. And like I was saying before, it's like you just have to kind of be picky, which is really nice. It's a super nice place to be, because it wasn't like that for years. But now it feels really good. I just more or less have to be locked in when I am working and not get distracted by the good things. On that note, your basketball manga, will it still happen? I'm just trying to find I'm trying to find the right balance of things, because I want to do more original stuff, and we'll see. I'll finish this deadline and I'll see how I feel. Talk to me in a week. Because I think I fuck myself up a lot, where like I overthink things a bit, and I like, if I'm in the middle of a deadline, it always feels like I'm never gonna end. Like this is always what happens, I'm locked into the deadlines forever. But it's just because I signed a contract to do like a big painting every like couple months, and those big paintings last about a month or so. And like when I'm in those stretches, I always feel like I'll never have time to do anything. But I know that's not true, because I did my comic, on stream, and you all saw that. But yeah, if I can get to a place where things are working out the way I want, then I would love to do like my idea was to do like a Shonen Jump style thing where I put out like original issues of just silly comics that I'm working on and put them out as like one big thing and do that every so often. I'm more leaning towards that angle now because like that's what Dan and I were talking about doing for like Steve Lichman even, was like instead of doing giant books after this next book that we're doing, that we would do the shorter issues and then release them in like chunks until we have enough for a giant book, and then we'll do a book, you know? Have I used Paint Tool Sai? No, I haven't. I wanted to, but it's only for PC. Do you get new clients contacting you out of the blue, or is it mainly existing clients with new work? Do you have to hunt for work sometimes? No, I never have to hunt for work anymore. If there's work that I want to do that I'm not being offered, I'll reach out, you know, like I'll find a way to like the way I got the Diablo work was just me. Like I wasn't like a Diablo guy or something. Like I'd never worked on Blizzard, you know, in that capacity, any of their stuff. But I wanted to work on Diablo 4 before it came out. Like I was really into the whole like going back to the roots of how everything looked and all that. So I reached out to them and just asked if I could work on anything. And then they, you know, I did a bunch of like paintings in the style that I would hopefully eventually be doing the Diablo work in. And then that led to me doing like a ton of Diablo work. So some stuff like that, like I am, you know, actively reaching out to them to get looped in and do some work. But most of the time it's not that. Most of the time it's people reaching out to me who either have seen my work or know me for whatever reason. You actually just reminded me I gotta reply to some emails after this. Some big production company emailed me, asked me to do some stuff. And I have to say no, but don't forget about me. That's most of those types of things where like now if I get an offer to do something really cool, I have to say like, I'd really like to, but I can't right now because of things, so please don't just write me off like maybe in the future. So I try to keep those potential clients in the back of my mind as a future possibility, and hopefully they reach out to me again and I'm able to do things. Did you see the manga No Name? I believe it's the first Jump manga that isn't Japanese. It's from Rafal Jaki and Machine Gamu. No, I've never seen that. I'll look that up. No Name. Propose a leap would be cool. Yeah. How do you know when the art is finished? Like for me, it's done, but you keep adding details. I'm going to set this in the environment properly and lose some of the edges that are a bit too sharp on the spider, stuff like that. If someone wanted to commission you, do they reach out to an agent? No, they just email me directly, usually, or DM me or something. Has AI been a threat to your job and work? Not me directly, no. Yeah, thankfully. You have any tips for efficient studying? Currently practice anatomy from Michael Hampton book. I'm not sure how to really push the skill gains, if that makes sense. Yeah, it'll be similar advice to what I generally give on here, which is just that you want to make sure that you're actively using what you learned. My number one thing is application. So it's not enough to just take in the studies at face value and copy things. It's also a matter of taking out your sketchbook or whatever and doing your own, version of what you learned, but applied to a drawing to see how much of that information you've retained from that source material. Whatever you studied and learned there, make sure that you actively use that, because I don't think the same logic as learning Spanish but never speaking it to anybody. It's like you're not gonna retain that. You're not gonna hold on to that language. It's like you have to actively use the things that you're studying in a way that challenges you. Yeah, more from imagination is what I would say. That's just what worked for me. Thanks, Mikey. What is the thing you struggle with most when illustrating, and what steps have you taken or are taking to overcome it? Just drawing, really, and the way that I'm overcoming it is just by drawing more. You know, so much of what's good about what you're doing relies on the drawing being super solid. And that's probably where I still stumble the most. Did you ever get really stuck on something while learning? I mean, all the time. All the time. It usually comes down to very basic solutions for the most part. Like I was saying, it's like not a strong enough drawing, or not enough contrast in a piece, or yeah, it's pretty simple for the most part. It's like readability's off because I haven't balanced everything right. Like the shapes are disappearing. A lot of times it's like composition gets messed up. I think somebody asked me about this the other day, and I was basically explaining it to them like one issue with like composition is how you kind of balance everything out in terms of what you're seeing. So the way I was trying to communicate it to like a non-artist was like, you imagine there's a constellation in the sky, and just for the sake of simplicity, the constellation is just a triangle, right? If you don't make that shape easily readable, and let's say you decide that one part of the constellation should be drawing all the attention, I'm going to make everything on this part of the constellation super cool. That's essentially like taking one of the stars and making it the sun. You know, with the perspective of you looking at this constellation from Earth, it's like then that lights up the atmosphere around the sun, and then you can't see the stars. You know what I mean? You can't see those other two stars. Like that type of thing is like what I try and keep in mind when I'm working on like very complicated compositions, which is currently what I'm doing for work. It's like every illustration I've done, there's like a million things going on, so it's a big balancing act all the time. So making sure that everything reads and I'm communicating what I'm meaning to communicate, that's all like a big juggling act for me. So that's something that I'm constantly working at because I want to be better at it. If I wasn't doing art as a living, what would I be doing? Maybe music, making movies or something. I have a lot of interests. You've been asked before on what series you would most want to work on, but is there a series that if you were asked you would refuse to work on, even if you had the time? Yeah, Saved by the Bell. Let me think about it. What would I not want to work on? There's a lot of ones that I feel like I'm not crazy about. Like, I wouldn't want to do Transformers because it's just so much work. And knowing myself, I'd get so fixated on the details that I'd turn it into like a monster of a job. What else would I not want to work on? I'm not crazy about Superman, so like anything where Superman's involved, I'm generally not into it. What would I say no to? Certain things that have like if somebody asked me to be involved in like a remake of like Akira or something like that, I might say no to that just because I have so much reverence for the thing that I couldn't possibly do it better. So I wouldn't see the point in it. Like I'm more interested in working on things that haven't had like they haven't hit that mountaintop yet, you know? Like I was watching like the James Gunn like Suicide Squad, and they had Polka Dot Man in there, and like Polka Dot Man is this really fleshed out character in there, right? But Polka Dot Man as a character is nothing, you know? It's just this throwaway dumb idea from like old comics. Like I like that stuff. Like if you gave me characters that seemingly like nobody really cared about, so the stakes were low, and I got to just do something really cool with it and just recreate it and find like a new way to do it, like that's more what I would like to do than work on super established things. Okay, what's something you want to work on to get to the mountaintop? What would be worthy of the height? I mean, there's a ton of things that I would want to do. The Destroyer would be one. The Destroyer novel series, if I could adapt that. Remo Williams. I mean, that's looking pretty good for what I'm going for, at least. All right, let me mute my screen so that you can't see me switching. I'm back. Okay. When it comes to actual printing your work, how do you handle colors and blacks? I have to juggle a lot with my files. Okay, so you're basically saying like you're trying to work around the image being too dark. It's hard for me to say. I don't really think about it so much anymore. I have like a print ready monitor that I can look at things on, where I can see if it's working or not. Also, just checking all my colors and CMYK, that sort of thing is very helpful. But yeah, I don't run into that problem so much anymore. I used to have issues with it when I didn't have a good like calibrated monitor. Back when I was like early days doing like Magic the Gathering, I remember a lot of my cards came out really dark, and it worried me because I was like, shit. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I don't know what's going on with this. And it just turned out that my calibration was all off. But that was also years ago, so all the tools have gotten better. Screens are way better. I feel like there's less of that now than there used to be. You kind of get better at that sort of thing over time too. After you kind of see like what your issues are, getting your work back from clients or something after it prints and going, shit. And if you're doing like a book, then you're test printing things and you're looking at that. Like when we do Steve Lichman, like I basically like test all the colors and make sure that that there's something in God, what's that stupid, like the Pantone book? I just make sure that those colors exist as a Pantone so that I'm not going to have any issues printing. Okay. So let's do some vibrance on here. Not so much saturation. Alright, now we're muting the screen. Well, actually, let's do a hue set. Let's do like a brightness thing on this, because that's going to be an issue. It's less that the brightness is an issue necessarily, and more that my contrast isn't great. Let's see if the thing I'm gonna do is gonna correct for the issues I'm having. Alright, hold on. Let me turn off my thing, open up my big old batch of files, and find one of my old monster guys so that I can drop it in here. Where are you? Where are my monster guys? Monster guys. Where'd you go? Is that you? Is that a monster guy? That's a monster guy. Alright. This is going into my monster book, so it needs to have appropriate texture. I'm laser focused. any tips on overcoming fear in relation to art? Yeah, just stop really caring what other people think. Just know that the work is going to take forever. You know, it's not something that you'll just eventually, you're never going to be like perfect at it, you know? There's no finish line, there's no end to it. You have to be comfortable with not being good, you know? Like, that's just what it is. You're not going to live up to this perfect thing you have in your mind of who you want to be as an artist. It's just unrealistic. Like, you're going to fall short of your heroes and what you want to do, who you want to be, all of that. But that's all okay, because that's everybody. And you have to just love the process of making things. If you just enjoy what you're doing, then it doesn't really matter. None of those other things matter. It's like when you compare yourself to all these other people, which you should in the beginning, because you know you want like a benchmark of where you're trying to get to if you're in an industry or something like that. That's not unhealthy. It's a good place to, you know, be in terms of just being like, okay, where am I in relation to this goal? Like that type of thing is helpful. It's not helpful when you beat yourself up to the point of stagnation. But just know that there's no like, you know, there's no end. Like when people ask me like, how long will it take me to get to a certain point, like get good or whatever, when will I be able to do this? I'm just like, that's the wrong mindset, because like you're not always going to be able to, you know, perfectly measure all of these things. It's not like there's a clear end to anything. Like there's places you can get to in terms of like your own survival as an artist, making a decent income. But just understand that this thing of like, I'm hating on myself has nothing to do with, you know, like your art. That's a you thing, and you need to get out of your own way and maybe even just like fake it, you know, just talk yourself up in your head. Like, yes, I'm gonna be good. Like, I will do good. Everybody's been here. I'm not unique. This is a problem that everybody has. If I can get through this, if I can study and work through and find something I'm good at here, then that's enough. That'll carry me. Like, I can, you know, I can get better. I can get to this next level of who, you know, I want to be. That's not too far away. It's like I just have to keep on pushing. Like if you can believe that, then, you know, it's possible for you. But if you think that it's not, then it's not. I really think like rappers have it right. Being like bombastic, like this is just me, like fuck you, I'm doing this thing and I'm great. Like that's what I wish for so many people who are artists who are insecure about what they do. Because I'm like, just fake it. And the funny thing about like rappers is like my brother worked at MTV in the gym for like a while there. And when he was at MTV, he got to meet like all the people. So he told me, he was like, man, rappers are actually huge dorks. He's like, they're just like into video games and like nerdy stuff, and he's like, they're not at all like what they put out in the world for the most part. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like, that's, you know, like I just think about it like what I do. It's like, yeah, like I don't need to, in my heart, I don't need to like necessarily change and be like this egotistical person, whatever. It's like, but I can make myself believe it to some extent that like, yes, I'm capable of fucking anything. I can do it. Yes. Like, I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be fucking awesome at this. Like, I can trick myself into like believing that. And I do that. It's like I convince myself of these things all the time. And yeah, like nobody's better than you as a person, you know what I mean? There are people who have done amazing things, but the default setting isn't that everybody else is better than you. It's that you have the ability to push beyond what you think you're capable of and do something great if you let yourself believe it. I honestly think like the only difference between those people is just the belief that you have in yourself. Like, that will carry you so far. Like, it doesn't even need to be honest. Like, when I think about this career and what I've done, I don't see something that like logically makes sense. Like, oh, I should have been able to do this. I just see it as I made this happen. This is like alchemy to me. It's like I just forced it. I willed it into existence. Like, whatever I'm doing now, like these jobs or whatever comes my way, it's like I'm willing these things into existence just by putting out into the world what I believe about myself. And maybe that's seen through the artwork or whatever else. And the other thing, which Kiwi mentioned it just now, but I was going to say that about like making stuff, is that you'll never live up to this weird ideal thing in your head of who you could be or what you should be doing or any of that. It's like, that's like, get that out of there. It's like, it's a bunch of junk. Like, if you want to do something, then you have to do it. And that means sometimes falling short of a goal because you just have to move on to the next thing. Like, this idea that there's some perfect version of you that does the projects that you want to do. And you're not going to be able to do those projects until you get to become that perfect version of yourself. That will never happen. And you'll never do anything if that's how you think. You have to let yourself just put things out, just try, and let it not be great. And then learn from that and move on to the next thing. But constantly be pushing to make more and more and do more and challenge yourself to try and push beyond your current limits. And then eventually you will be there. It's just going to take a lot of time. Like, I look at my like early like Steve Lichman books and like the drawings are so bad, but I felt like I needed that at the time. Like, I just needed a vehicle to do bad work in, you know? Like, that was important to me. Because it was just a joke, you know, the book was a joke. And I'm, you know, insecure about doing earnest things poorly. So to make like a joke comic was kind of ideal for that situation, because I could, you know, have the poor drawing ability that I had at the time just be attributed to, well, that's just part of the humor. of, it's crude. That's part of it. But if you look at like my first page all the way to the end of the last book that we did, it's like leagues better. And I wasn't even trying to be better. I was just doing work and work and work and work and pushing and pushing and pushing. And then eventually just got to the point where, it ended up. But yeah, definitely don't be a perfectionist. It's just not good. It's not productive. Do you feel like it's a reoccurring issue that comes up in your career as well? Not the fear part. I feel like I'm pretty good with that, but I would say I relate in the way that like, let me put it this way. You can get to a point where you can almost procrastinate with success. And every one of these things that comes up, like, I'm at a point now where like every offer I get is very appealing, but I could be procrastinating from the things that I know I need to do by focusing on things that seem bright and shiny at the moment. And you have to, and I'm still coming to grips with this, be able to really say no to things because there's some other purpose for you that you need to pursue. And am I taking on nice, bright, shiny things because I'm afraid of dedicating myself to the stuff that I know I want and have to do for myself? Maybe. I could be doing that. So I try to be like pretty strict with myself, Let's full screen him. Let's look at this goblin. A goblin on a spider that I had no compositional plan for, and we just kind of did it on the stream. So there it is. I don't think I'm going to do more work on it. I think the next one I do will be, actually, you know what I'm going to do? The next stream, I'm going to be doing portraits for that book, the comic that I did. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of like Starvale portraits again, which I think will be cool because I'm way faster than I was back in the day. So I can probably like get through those relatively quickly. But I wanted to do that because I was feeling like the book that I wanted to kind of kickstart and get printed of that comic, I just needed something else in the back of the book. And I've been sitting on it for a while where I'm like, I'm not totally cool with putting it out as is. I want to make it more of like an art book in the back half. So that was the idea I came up with, was like, I'll do like a new take with my new skill set, as well as the old ones. All the old portraits are in there from my comic from like 2013 or something. I'll do, all these new portraits of the characters and just, experiment with that style. I thought that'd be a lot of fun to do. So that's going to be the next one. Next stream. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. I'm going to call it. I've actually, if you just jumped on at 8 o'clock, or 8 my time, I don't know where you are, But I was actually streaming for like 30 minutes before then, so if you want to go back and check that all out, you can. But yeah, I'm gonna call it tonight and get back to my deadline that I have, and hopefully wrap that up so I can feel less crazy. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Love to you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.